That's very, very, very true. But that's how dollars and cents get put together. And I guess the thing I would like to encourage our brothers to do is make sure that you have these real conversations with other guys. This is a disease state, and I appreciate Councilor Presley having my back. But when it comes down to it, brothers, we have to have our front and make sure that we step up with each other. And I would just like to ask, and one of my favorite movies is New Jack City, and one of the things that they said in that movie is, am I my brother's keeper? And you should respond, yes, I am. Am I my brother's keeper? Am I my brother's keeper? Am I my brother's keeper? And I just leave you in the words of Michelangelo. And this is about, and I don't normally speak in these grandiose terms, but this is about the imaging piece. We can and we should do it. And he said, the greater danger for most of us lies not in setting our aim too high and falling short, but in setting our aim too low and achieving our mark. Let's shoot high, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much.
Being a Boston City resident, they're good talkers, but the council people not only talk, but they walk the walk. I'd like to thank them for being here today. I'm also Facebook friends with them, and they are all over the city, and I want to go to your turkey fry next year, Councilor Jackson. Now it's my privilege and honor to introduce to you Representative Russell Holmes, who's a member of the Joint Committee on Financial Services, Housing, and Judiciary.
Thank you, David. I'm here also to say congratulations to Dr. Stern because I believe it is so important to not just simply bring information to the State House, but to also bring resources. And so often we'll go to an event and folks may want to make themselves known, may become loud or make their issue known, but when you bring the resources at the same time. And so I'm not only just saying thank you, Dr. Stern, but I'm saying thank you to all of those who are here to support this effort, that if someone did not know about it, we can at least leave with a pamphlet and make people more aware of what's happening in our communities. I'm Russell Holmes. I represent portions of Mattapan, Dorchester, Hyde Park, Rosendale, and JP. And in the new redistricting, what it means is that I represent one of the largest districts of color. And after redistricting happens this year, I will represent the largest district of African Americans here in the Commonwealth, and about 92% of the district will be of color. So it is very important for me, as I continue to think about black men, that we continue to do exactly as Councilor Jackson and Councilor Presley talked about, become more engaged. Talk to one another. Don't make it just an issue that we isolate ourselves, but continue to make it so that we as a family continue to embrace this issue and understand it is something that is difficult for us as a community. I also want to recognize Tom Farrington, who I was with last week, because one of the things is we have to continue to know, we as black men need to continue to say to one another, have you had your PSA test? Have you? And if it's imaging, I don't think we should continue to, as Councilor Jackson said, we should not continue to debate what is the right thing. What is the right thing is to know that you need to do something. And so I'm going to end with simply just saying, and I said last year at the golf course, my granddad was diagnosed with prostate cancer 10 years ago when he was 88 years old. And he began treatment. And I still today say, how on earth do you begin treatment of chemo and radiation on an 88-year-old man? I did not understand why you would do that. Lo and behold, I signed a birthday card 3 days ago because he turns 98 on tomorrow. And so I didn't realize the stat where you said earlier today, Dr. Stern, that only 29% of the men are alive after 5 years. So I didn't realize how remarkable that was for my 88-year-old granddad to get to 98 after prostate cancer, because I'm sure most of those people are younger than 88 when they're diagnosed. But I say that to say simply that when I think of the last 10 years for my granddad, he saw another 8 years of my grandmother. They shared life together, 55 years of marriage before she passed away 2 years ago. He saw his grandson become elected. He's also been here and shaken hands with the governor. He's from Mississippi, from a small town called Mound Bayou, Mississippi, started by slaves, so the first descendant of slaves. And so just think, in the 100 years, what he's seen, where he now has his grandson in the State House, he's met with the governor, and he's met about 2 months ago with the president, because he was recognized as one of the leaders of World War II. So it is just important to just think, we are important in our lives, even at any age. We still can contribute, and he still does today. And so I just say congratulations, thank you for being here today, and thanks everyone for coming out and making everyone aware. Thanks so much.
Of course, we are in the State House, and it takes political prestige, it takes political awareness, and it takes political muscle to get this to the top of the political agenda. But it takes doctors, it takes physicians, it takes nurses, it takes clinicians, researchers. So it's my privilege now to introduce to you the renowned physician from Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, Harvard Medical School, Dr. Philip Kantoff, head of solid tumors and chief medical officer.
Thank you, David. Thank you, David. I want to thank Faye for inviting me today and for the tireless work that you've done over the past decade plus in the area of prostate cancer awareness, imaging, and research. So I'm going to tackle a problem, but it sounds like I'm preaching to the converted here from everything I've heard about PSA screening. So let me see where we are here. Where's the flipper? Oh, you got it. Okay. Thank you. Stole it from me. Faye. Okay. So the question I'm going to pose here is, should we screen for prostate cancer with a PSA? You've heard a lot of advocates of it, but this all just sort of blew in our face a few months ago, as you heard from Faye and others, when the United States Preventive Task Force, which is an assembly of intelligent people, but certainly not experts in the field of prostate cancer, came out with new recommendations. I can't see the slides from here, but I'll say to you that 4 years ago, in 2008, they came up with a recommendation, which I think was reasonable, was that for men under the age of 75, that PSA was a reasonable test, we'll just say that. And for men over the age of 75, which is a surrogate for saying men with a life expectancy of less than 10 years. Now, you hear about 88-year-old men who are getting treated and screened for prostate cancer, and you say, well, where's this 75 come? 75 is looking to be, in a young age now to me, as I've been in this field for 25 years. But nonetheless, I think that screening and treatment really probably does have an upper cutoff if you consider men who have a limited life expectancy or have other comorbidities, as we say, other illnesses that might compromise their life expectancy. But what surprised a lot of us this year was, based on the data that we all were looking at, and we're students of this disease, and we've looked at the same literature as the task force has, that the task force came out with a fairly outrageous recommendation of basically stop screening with PSA. And how did they come up with that recommendation? So their recommendation was that in the U.S. population, no matter what age, no matter what race, screening is not advocated because more harm is done than good. So a lot of us have studied these recommendations, have studied the papers that were the basis for this. And I'm not going to go into this in detail because I can't see it from here, and I can't remember what's on the slide. That's one of the things of getting older. But I will tell you that there are a number of serious methodological flaws scientifically that brought the task force to this conclusion. And the community at large is really outraged about this recommendation. So what's the real problem? Well, you've heard it before. The PSA is not a perfect test. Sometimes a PSA misses a prostate cancer. Sometimes people get unnecessary biopsies. Some people who have an elevated PSA don't have prostate cancer, so it's not a perfect test, and I'll get back to the phase work in a second. So how can we reconcile the fact, I don't know what I'm saying here, the positives, how can we reconcile the positives? The positives being that unequivocally, as Faye said before, prostate cancer screening saves lives. There's absolutely no question about that. But the flip side of it is that there are men who don't need to be screened, who don't need to get biopsies, and who don't need to get treated. How do we reconcile that? And that's what the task force had to deal with, and they could not dissociate these two opposing forces. So let me walk over here if I can. Is that possible? I can't.